All right, let's now get into our big interview. Joining us in studio is Devolution CS Eugene Wamalwa. CS, karibu sana. Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
Over 1 trillion shilling CS has been devolved to the counties over the last 4 years. In your view, what difference has this made?
I think it has transformed lives, it has transformed counties, and it has transformed this country. Just last week, I was in Turkana County, and this is a county that had no facilities, medical facilities, and people had to travel over 100 miles away, all the way past Kapenguria, past Kitale to Eldred, Moirifaro, just for a CT scan, just to get dialysis. Right now, as we speak, in Turkana, they have this equipment. They only had about 4 doctors in their district hospital in Turkana, in Lodwar. Now they have 70 doctors. So devolution is working. I was in Wajir, an area that had been left behind, part of the northern frontier district. And right now, Wajir has a tarmac road that is something that had never happened for 50 years. So everywhere you go, you can see the fruits of devolution. You can see the hope of Kenya finally getting development in every corner of this country. So I believe it is working, but of course we still have challenges.
Okay.
Yes.
What do you think, in your view, what do you think devolution is doing to fight or to help Kenyans deal with poverty? Because that has been a key issue and a key discussion. The Kenya National Bureau of Statistics indicates in a report that they released recently that we're still a long way away from winning the war against poverty. Rural areas hardest hit, and we still have rural-urban migration still going on 5 years into devolution.
Yes, I think right from primary school that we used to hear of rural-urban migration. But I want to say that with devolution, I think very soon we might start seeing urban-rural migration. Because with the county governments now working, and we have ensured that all functions have been devolved, and you are looking at over 1 trillion pumped into these counties. We are seeing more people going back to the counties to do business. We have more professionals going back to the counties to serve. And we might change the trend. I think looking at the functions that are devolved, whether you're talking about food, agriculture is devolved, whether you're talking about health, and all the big 4 are functions that have been devolved. But counties left alone will not succeed on their own. As national government, we continue supporting devolution, not just through the resources, but also through capacity building, through ensuring that we work very closely with the governors, and we have improved intergovernmental relations. I believe when the president declared the big 4, if I was a governor anywhere, I would be a very happy governor, knowing very well that the burden is no longer mine alone, because the focus
shared with the national government.
Is shared, because the counties are going to be the theaters where the big 4 will play out. So going into this devolution conference, the theme is really going to focus on the big 4. We want to see how we can build partnerships as national government with the county governments, with our development partners, and we will be able to achieve it. And once the big 4 succeed, the issues of poverty will be fully addressed.
Okay. We did talk to a cross-section of Kenyans in different counties just to get their thoughts on devolution 5 years in. Let's listen to what some of them had to say.
Any manufaa kwa wananchi, aswa kwa maneno waajiri ya wafanyikazi. Unaachiriwa kulingana nani unajua county, ama nani ako pale ukichuana na jinsi gani, kama ni rafiki yako ndio utapata ajira. Kwa maneno ya barabara na contracts, wenye wana benefits mostly ni matajiri, wale wanapata contractors, na zile barabara wanaenda kutengeneza asisaitii wananchi, kwa sababu hiyo barabara zinatengenezwa njia tuni kabisa.
It was a good thing for the national government to have these devolved units, because one, the money that was actually utilized at the national level have now some base in most of the counties that we have. So I must say that if this cash that is being devolved from the national government is actually expended well, then we expect these counties to do very well.
Naisoma tu kwa magazeti, naona kwa news, devolution. imekuwa ni kama vocabulary unajua. But me personally sijafeel hiyo ka devolution imeniguza ama imenisaidia.
Kutoka ugatuzi ukuje tumeona mabadiliko. Hususan katika kaunti ya Kwale. Kuna vitu tunaweza kuangalia tukasema isinge kwa ugatuzi, vitu hizi hazingekuwa. Ingawa tunaelewa ya kwamba miaka ya kwanza 5 ilikuwa na trials and errors nyingi. Lakini tukiangalia ni kwamba ukitembea utaona kweli kuna mabadiliko hapa na pale ambayo yanaonekana kuwa ni ugatuzi ambao umeweza kufanya kazi.
Hatujapata ufafanuzi, naona tumeyumba sana na tumekorogeka sana, hasa wafanyakazi maofisini kama magavana pia wa serikali ya ugatuzi. Hatuwaoni magavana mashinani, hatuoni wabunge, hatuoni maseneta, hao watu wote wamepotea. Maagriculture pia hakuna, wa kufanya kazi ya wakulima hamna. Tunaona shida tu imetuelemea.
Devolution.
All right, mixed views. You can literally talk to 2 people on the same street.
Sure.
One person will say, since devolution came, our lives have been transformed. The other one will say, no, we don't see the governors anymore, we don't see the senators. We don't feel that they are in touch with the problems of the county. What's your take on this?
I think this devolution conference is going to be very important.
Okay.
In these 47 counties, standing before the mirror and, you know, looking at how well they are doing. And it will be like a beauty contest. We really want to see.
Will Kenyans know the results of who is the most beautiful?
Definitely, because we're all going to be there. And we're going to look at who is the most beautiful of them all. We have 47 of them. But I think the ugly head of corruption is still rearing its ugly head. Tribalism, as we can see those commenting saying, and these are matters that we want to look at. Not just to celebrate devolution, not just to appreciate the milestones marked, but also to look at the challenges. We are saying devolution is strong. How can we make it stronger? So this should really be the focus coming into this devolution conference. And we are aware that we're still a long way from home. But we have made progress.
What sort of goals are you hoping to achieve with this devolution conference? What can you tell Kenyans in that by the time we're done with this conference, we expect 1, 2, 3 to have happened in terms of thinking or actionable points that governors can go back to their counties with?
I think what the governors want to take away from this conference is that the Big Four is the biggest show in town. And it is not a national government thing. It is not a county government thing. It is something for all Kenyans. So the partnership that we must build to ensure the success of the Big Four is something that must be a clear output of this conference. To me, I think that's where the focus should be. And we'll have 4 thematic areas. We'll have 4 tents where we'll be looking at food security. We want to look at how we can remove Kenya from the list of food insecure nations of the world. It can be done through technology, through irrigation, and we want to see how we can partner with the counties.
Okay.
And all the other issues of health, we have done very well as a national government, ensuring we equip at least 2 hospitals per county. And it's working miracles. People don't have to travel all the way to Kenyatta National Hospital. Some used to travel all the way to Mulago Hospital in Uganda. Now this is coming to every county. World-class healthcare that can be accessed within your county is a big achievement.
Okay.
And we want to look at this, celebrate, but also see how we can strengthen devolution.
Okay.
Yes.
Shortly, I'll be coming to you to get into more details about food security and healthcare, and it's important that you brought them up. But you were quoted in the Standard of April 10th as saying, the poor disbursement of funds to counties by the national government and poor coordination between government institutions limits the ability of county governments to properly handle devolved functions like health. Did they misquote you on that?
I think we've had challenges, call a spade, in terms of the money reaching the counties on time. But one thing we can also celebrate is that as a government, we have shown total commitment. From 2013, when we first released the first 210 billion. The following year, we upgraded to about 226 billion. We moved on to 286 billion. And the 4th year, we're talking about 302 billion. This is way above the 15% prescribed by our constitution. It shows a government that is committed to ensuring devolution works.
Okay.
Over $1 trillion has been put in. We want to see this coming week, what has it done? And it will be a forum where we can interact. We know that there have been challenges and delays in
why do you think there have been those delays? Who's to blame for this?
I think like last year, obviously, this country going through 2 general elections back to back, I think affected a lot of things. So we had drought, we had all sorts of challenges, but our national treasury is addressing these issues, and we believe going into the future, and through this devolution conference, we want to sit with the governors and see how these challenges can be addressed.
Okay, okay. So you see this as an issue of the past, because we still hear governors today complaining that not all the money has gone to the counties in the financial year. I mean, is this something you're concerned about? And I have had numerous governors here saying, ultimately, we are hindered by lack of, I mean, promises are made in terms of how much money will come to our counties, but the money never gets there.
I think these are issues that will be on the table next week. And I want to promise a very robust and candid engagement with our governors, so that we all look at how we can strengthen devolution. I think that is where the future lies.
Can you assure them that the delays are going to be a thing of the past, or you cannot make those promises?
That is something that my brother CS Rotich will assure them. But we'll also look at what needs to be done to streamline things. And I believe we all want devolution to work. And next week we'll be showing our commitment and our plan on how we can all contribute towards strengthening devolution in our country.
Yes. You're recently quoted as saying that the devolution conference will cost somewhere about 200 million Kenyan shillings.
Correct.
Just help Kenyans understand, because some would ask, if there's a delay with money getting to the counties and you can allocate 200 million to a function like this one, then clearly money is
actually the 200 million, half of it is coming from the governors themselves. Each governor is contributing 2 million. And of course, for a county government to come and showcase, the governor can't come alone, he must come with a team. They will have their own stand to show what has been done in Turkana or Kwale or Wajir. And it's an important occasion for a county to showcase this, because we would want to see what is going on in Turkana, what is happening in Garissa, for example. So it is worth it. And as a ministry, we are also contributing about 25 million shillings. The Senate is contributing. And our partners, 50
million will come from Kakamega, 25 from Senate, 25 from your ministry.
Our partners are contributing also. And it's going to be a week-long process, where we will also be looking at how we can get the counties to work together. And we're talking about regional blocks. We are developing a policy and a legal framework to strengthen these regional blocks. Because on its own, any county will look less attractive than if it's part of an economic block. Like in northern Kenya, we have the frontier counties. 8 of them coming together. And you see that catching the attention of donors, of investors. There's a lot of resources going up north just because of that. Last week, we were celebrating the launching of the Lake Basin Economic Bloc. It's bringing together 14 counties, all the way from Trans Nzoia to Isibania border. You're talking of about 14 million Kenyans coming together. That bloc becomes very attractive to investors. Just like when our president signed the Continental Free Trade Agreement in Kigali. You are looking at enhanced intra-trade between countries, and an expanded market, economies of scale being enjoyed in transforming the county. Would like our counties to borrow a leaf from that. Would want them to come together, become stronger, more attractive to investors.
Yes. That actually makes a lot of sense. Yes. Forgive me if I'm belaboring the point about funding to the counties, but it's because it has become the biggest cry from governors, and I am sure this will be one of the biggest talking points at the devolution conference. The government has proposed spending cuts on certain projects in the second supplementary budget, and county allocation has also suffered because of that. There's talk that about 14 to 18 billion will not get to the counties, even though it was supposed to. Does that concern you?
It's across board, and I think my colleague CS Rotich has explained, and we all know that Kenya is coming from a very tight corner. And after the handshake, we see the country calming down. We see the stock exchange react positively. We see the economy picking. We see Kenya being the center of attraction in London as our president moves and engages our partners. And when they are looking at Africa now, and they're talking about Africa rising, Kenya is really the rising star of Africa. It is for us now to see how we can build on that.
Okay.
And I believe our best days are ahead of us.
Okay.
Yes.
But even before the election year, CS, you do know that there were still delays. And,
Yes.
this, and I'm putting you on the spot on this one because
Yes,
you know it's your role to ensure that
it is an issue. It is an issue, and I've said all cards will be on the table next week.
Honest
and
conversations
will
will
be
be
very
had.
candid, and I expect a very robust engagement.
Okay.
In Kakamega.
As we look at devolution for the next 5 years, are there aspects of devolution that we need to rethink as a nation? Have you looked at certain areas and said, this doesn't look like it's quite working well? I mean, for example, let's talk about health. Devolved function, yes, but we've seen the issues that there has been with health over the last 5 years. And a lot of medical practitioners feel take health back to the national government, but governors feel that a lot of health practitioners have, in a sense, not been very honest with their time at the counties because the national government could not fully follow up on all of them.
Yes.
But now that the county governments are able to follow up, we see some issues between governors and nurses, etc. Do we need to rethink devolution to some extent?
Devolution is irreversible. We are not even going to think about that. We are going to think about how to strengthen those weak areas. And the French President de Gaulle used to say that sometimes war is too serious to be left to the generals. The matters we are talking about are too serious just to be left to the counties. That is why matters health. The national government has come in. When we talk about equipping almost 100 hospitals across the country, it is a major boost to healthcare. And we know that the counties are doing their best. They are struggling with limited resources. But as national government, we are going to continue supporting them. When you're talking agriculture, the counties might not have the capacity to do major irrigation projects. But as national government, we're coming in to build the irrigation infrastructure, water infrastructure across counties. So we are going to say that the big four is not about the national government, it's not about the county government, it's about a partnership that can transform this country. So they are not on their own. We are going to support them. We have development partners who will be working with us. So through that partnership, I believe the big four will be a reality.
Okay. So
And
in terms of
devolution will work.
tweaking devolution, at this moment you feel that's not a necessary discussion?
Not now. It is how can we strengthen it?
Where do you have concerns? Now that you're sitting in this docket, where do you look at and say, I think we need to strengthen this?
I'm very concerned about the issue of corruption. As we devolve all this money to the counties, we wanted to devolve resources, not to devolve corruption. And this is an area of grave concern, and it's an area we're going to be addressing. And we'll have the control of budget there, we have the auditor general. We will be engaging and saying, no, we can't bury our heads in the sand on the issue of corruption, on the issue of tribalism. Because these counties were supposed to be, you know, the engines of development. But they cannot be incubators for corruption. They cannot be incubators for tribalism, clanism. People being targeted because they are from this clan. Maybe they are not in good books with the governor. These are real challenges that are out there in the counties. We must address them. Unless we overcome the challenge of corruption and the challenge of tribalism, we will still have a problem in people realizing the fruits of devolution. All Kenyans.
Okay.
Yes. So
you've spent quite some time talking about President Uhuru Kenyatta's big four. Let's talk about food security.
Yes.
You also oversee the arid and semi-arid lands docket as part of what you, you know, so it's devolution and ASAL as well. And I want to talk about Galana Kulalu. If this project succeeds, then your job obviously will be easier because these arid and semi-arid lands will have access to water, etc. What's the status of that project?
That project, I would say, has really, a lot has been written and said about it, negatively most of it.
Okay.
But as the minister who was in charge, I can tell you today, Galana Kulalu Food Security Project is a success. It is a success because there was proof of concept that lands that were looked at as having little or no potential are turning out to have the potential of becoming the new bread baskets of our country.
Okay.
I come from a bread basket area in Trans Nzoia, where maize comes from. But what we achieved in Galana, we're able to do 39 bags per acre. In Kitale, on average, now we do 20. Now, if we can get other areas that can produce similarly, And we're not just looking at Galana, which is across Tana River and Kilifi, both Asal counties. We are looking at Ukambani. We are already constructing Thwake Dam. Thwake Dam alone will bring about 100,000 acres under irrigation.
Okay.
You are talking of creating a new breadbasket in Ukambani, an area that you know we've been taking relief food. Very soon we'll go to Ukambani to take food to other regions.
How many acres do you have under irrigation right now at Galana?
What we had was a model farm of 10,000.
Okay.
But we are now moving towards opening up the area so that we have private investors coming in. And we are talking about 400,000 acres being opened up.
Okay.
And this would be possible after construction of a dam. The Galana Dam is also on the cards. And as we speak, NIB is handing over to ADC to now move from the model farm phase, because the proof of concept has been achieved, to now actual production. How do we make these 400,000 acres and up to 1 million acres productive?
Okay.
So we're in that phase now, and I want to say it is a success.
It is a success.
It is, yes.
Well, CS, I do have some questions, because you've been here before.
Yes.
And you've talked about this project, and you've used almost the exact same words.
Yes.
And I'll start with 2016, and if we could just play that. We were in this same place. Let's listen to what. Yes, please.
And we want to assure Kenyans we will be able to complete this by September. After that, we want to open up this place. We have about 500,000 acres we want to open up immediately. And we've already advertised an expression of interest. And I'm very pleased to say tonight that the response has been overwhelming. 4 shillings.
And when do you expect you'll be doing enough land to have that significant impact on the food prices?
We are looking at September, when we have the 10,000 model farm ready. We are looking at
this September.
This September, and once the investors come in, we are going to increase production. But this will close the deficit. It will not drive the maize farmers out of business.
You're saying this September we can expect unga at 100 shillings?
This September we expect the model farm to be ready, and we expect to start seeing prices of unga going down. Once this production is realized, we want to use the economy of scale, the new technology, to lower the cost of production. Once we do that, we should also be able to bring down the prices of unga, because we go to the same supermarket.
I want to go to that figure, because I go to the supermarket as well.
Yes, and it doesn't matter whether you are a mheshimiwa or a mwananchi. You go to Kuala.
Everybody wants.
Yes, I don't know how you can call the project a success when 2 years ago the same ideas or sort of timelines you gave are the same ones you're giving to us here today in 2018.
No, there are changes in the management, and I believe, I've said,
what ails that irrigation scheme? What is wrong?
The issue is the limitation in terms of water. The water available would do up to about 20,000 acres. That's why I've mentioned Galana Dam. Now, Galana Dam is being developed as through a PPP project, and that's why we're talking about investors. So as government, our business is really to set the infrastructure. Then we bring in the investors to invest. So we're in that phase now.
Of setting up the infrastructure.
Yeah, the expression of interest was advertised. We've had a lot of interest. And now we're in that process.
Okay.
I've handed over, of course, the docket to my brother, CS Kiunjuri. NIB has handed over to ADC. Now, ADC will be is going now into the production phase.
Okay.
And it's not the government to do the production. We want investors to come in. We want private sector to come in. And that is where we are.
Okay.
But our main mandate was to achieve that proof of concept that, yes, we can turn these arid and semi-arid lands into new bread baskets. That is proven, and we want our partners to come in now to do the production.
Are you concerned that the promises you made 2 years ago have not quite gone according to plan? And at the Jubilee Manifesto launch, you actually said the same thing.
Yes,
yeah, but almost.
We have
see
made
a
progress.
pattern here.
We have made progress. What I would say is that the process of procuring, say, international players, investors coming in, it's a process. Construction of a dam is not something you build overnight.
Okay.
It's a process. But as we speak, as government, we are satisfied that we have proven that concept. We are creating a new bread, but it might take time. We know Kenyans can be impatient.
Because I'm trying to imagine those who live, for example, some of the ASL areas that are around Galana Kulalu,
yes,
they are
course.
watching this interview, they're listening to what you're saying, but they know they're hungry and they're waiting for relief food.
Yes, but the food that we gave people affected when we had drought was maize from Galana. You're talking of over 150,000 bags. We were able to distribute this maize in Tana River, in Taita Taveta, across the coast. We did not get maize from Kitale coming to the coast. I think for the first time, we must appreciate progress, that we actually have maize grown in the coast region, helping the coastal people. There's progress, yes. But we have not managed to go full scale.
As per the initial plan?
Yes, we have not achieved that yet, but it's work in progress. It might take time, but
do you have new time frames? Before you hand it over, did you have a sort of idea of when sort of the investors will take over the 100,000 that you're hoping to hand over to them?
Yes, I think the process is ongoing, and there were already investors who are interested. So it is an issue of getting the right people procured. We must follow the law before the work starts.
And the work cannot start until a dam is available to provide water?
No, the dam is part of, it's part of what was advertised.
Okay.
There are those who will do the dam, there are those who will do the infrastructure, the irrigation, and it was all included.
So in your honest view, Galana Kulalu is not a white elephant?
It is not a white elephant.
It's not a failed project?
It is not. Out of this ASAL region, food can be produced. So now we are looking at how to produce it, not if. That is a big leap. That is a big leap in the right direction.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. And finally, water harvesting, also something that was under your something that you'd have handled quite a lot in the previous docket, and even now it's of concern to you as well.
Yes.
And you last year you launched the Kenyan chapter of the $1 billion Business Alliance for Rainwater Harvesting. Yes. Kenyans are asking, it's raining, it's flooding still, but we're seeing pictures in Dakaine. I know you're no longer in that docket, but I want to get your thoughts on this as well, and your view as you led Kenyans in that particular aspect.
Yes, we have made a lot of progress. I can tell you that we have a plan of doing about 60 dams across the country, and they're all mapped out. When you go to Turkana, we have Lawat Dam that is being developed. When you go to Baringa, I was there recently because of the disaster situation. We are saying we're not just in the business of bringing relief food. We want to move from relief to resilience. We want to develop capacity for communities themselves to produce. Now that can be achieved once we give them water. They have fertile land, and Kenyans are hardworking people. So once we develop these dams, and we are looking at the entire country. When you go to Wajir, we have Bute Dam. In Kwale, we're developing Mwache Dam. All these dams, once they're done, we'll be able to triple our water harvesting and storage capacity. Once we have that, we will double our irrigation capacity. Do you know most of those traditional irrigation schemes were very limited in production? When you are looking at Mwea, what Mwea is producing is just about 80,000 metric tons of rice. But with Thiba Dam that's under construction, in another 3 years, once it's completed, we'll double that to almost 160,000 metric tons, cutting the deficit in rice production in this country significantly. So double that with Bunyala, where we're doing another 10 billion World Bank project. We'll double the production of the old Bunyala irrigation scheme. Over 50 years, we've only been producing about, we're using 2,000 acres. We're just using developing the infrastructure, the dams, would more than double. We'll go to almost 10,000 acres.
Okay.
Increased.
What measures or safety measures are you putting in place to ensure that the ghosts of corruption of old do not touch some of these projects? Badasa Dam has been a big discussion. We saw what happened to this. This is a project that should have ended 10 years ago. It's true, and it was not only Badasa. We had Badasa and Umar Dam. When I took over the Ministry of Water and Irrigation, I think also having the legal background helped me in resolving the legal tussle that had stalled these two projects. As we speak, the legal issues were sorted out, and the two dams are underway again. And you're talking of, Umar Dam giving 80,000 people in Kitui County water. So it has restarted. Yes. Umar Dam is now on track. Yes, Badasa is also on track. How much money has been allocated to Badasa? The president had promised 2 billion shillings, I believe. Think we're starting with 1 billion. Significant work had been done, and we want Badasa completed. It will transform Marsabit County.
Umar Dam would transform Kitui County. Now, Thwake Dam would serve both Makueni and Kitui.
Okay.
So all these dams, once they are completed, you are going to see a huge improvement in food production, more acreage under irrigation, more water for livestock, and also for domestic use.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you so much, CS. Before I let you go, I cannot let you leave without getting your thoughts on some of the current political discussions in this country right now.
Yes.
Where do you stand on the whole referendum discussion? Does Kenya need a referendum right now? Is that something that we should be thinking about as a nation?
I think when the Catholic bishops spoke the other day, they spoke the mind of many religious leaders who have said it's about time probably we relooked at this constitution. You have the senators last 2 weeks ago I was in Nakuru, and the senators were talking about the same thing. All I can say now is that it's a conversation that we must have.
Okay.
And as Kenyans, we must be free to talk about it, because it's our constitution. We've had it for 8 years. The only issue would be the timing. I think right now the focus should be on the big four. If we can focus on this, and with the handshake and the calming down of political temperatures, we can all see how the big four can work. If a referendum came, say midterm or towards the general election, Kenya would have covered a lot of ground. But if we went straight into a referendum now, the election fever
would return.
We've just come out of a bruising election. 2 elections back to back. We must allow the country to breathe.
Okay.
We must allow our economy to recover. And with the handshake and with the big four on track, we can achieve that. Let's cover some ground, but that does not stop us from having this conversation, because it is a conversation that we must have.
The executive PM post is something that you
It's
think...
a conversation we must have.
It's a conversation we must have.
At some point, yes.
Finally,
but not now. I think
but not now.
Let's allow the country to move forward. Let's allow the country to breathe, please.
Okay, I like the way you put that. Finally, a couple of weeks back, you were supposed to meet ODM leader Raila Odinga,
yes,
to brief him on the devolution conference. But
yes,
through some circumstances that Kenyans have quite not understood, that did not happen. We were told you'd meet him at his office.
Yes.
And then later on, it's like that. What happened?
No, we were inviting him, and we have talked to him, and he has graciously agreed to grace the devolution conference on the 3rd day. He will be a keynote speaker. As we all know, he has made significant contributions towards the present constitutional dispensation and to devolution. We recognize that as government, and that's why we have invited him, and the Council of Governors has honored him with that invitation.
Okay.
And we will be having both the President and the Deputy President. The President will be officially opening on Tuesday, and the former Prime Minister will come in the 3rd day, and His Excellency the Deputy President will close for us. Okay. So we have the entire country coming together to have a national dialogue about the state of devolution in this country and how we can strengthen it. And
what happened that day?
And with the handshake, I think we're making good progress.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
You don't want to answer my question on what happened the day you were to meet him?
No, we did invite him. We did invite him.
Did you meet him?
We did not, because there was a change in timing.
Okay.
What we had been given was an early appointment, but it was moved to 12 o'clock, and we had the senators' conference in Nakuru.
So
but our team met him.
Your team met him.
He graciously accepted our invitation, and we will be hosting him in Nakuru. I mean, in Kakamega.
Okay.
Yes.
CS, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
And I appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
And sorry, I've just been reminded, one last question. Kofi Olomide, is he going to be in Kakamega?
Well, he has expressed the interest of coming.
He has expressed the interest.
We welcome other artists, including our very own local artists.
Despite some of the worries by the Immigration Department that...
he had issues with the Immigration Department. I think the matters are being addressed. But he's not the only one who will be coming. We have very many artists coming.
You have very many artists.
Yeah, he has expressed the interest of joining us. If it will be possible, we'll be happy to host him. But we have many artists coming, including our very own Kenyan artists.
Including our very own Kenyan artists.
Yes.
Well, it seems it's a conference that you don't want to miss. And of course, we'll have quite a bit of it live here on Citizen TV. CS, thank you so much for your time once again.